Hey guys, Average Scarecrow here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Thank you very much for dropping by the channel. As always, I really appreciate it. Today, we're going to be finding out whether or not Acolyte of the Slither might actually be better than Apothecary. So for you veteran players out there like me, you guys probably have fond memories of Apothecary, helping you get through Fire Knight, areas like Dragon, basically all of the early stages of dungeons, mid-game dungeons, even into the late game, end game dungeon type stuff, and then helping you out in areas like progressing through arena, all sorts of different stuff. Doom Tower, the guy, helped me through Doom Tower so much. So for you guys, you probably remember and have fond memories of Apothecary. And for you newer players, you've probably heard legends about Apothecary. If you have any veteran players on your in your clans or anything like that, about how Apothecary used to dominate in so many different areas of the game and still has tremendous progression value for most players. But today, we're putting it to the test. Is he still the king of progression through the early game for newer players, or is he finally being usurped by Acolyte of the Slither? So we're going to do something fun today. We're going to do a kit comparison, and then we're going to go into the Dragon dungeon, and we're going to test them out on an identical team to see who has the most value, who can get it done faster, with less deaths, more heals, more turn meter manipulation, who's going to be able to do it. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to start with Apothecary's kit. We'll jump over to Acolyte's kit. We'll jump back over to Apothecary's build, jump back over to Acolyte's build, and then we'll talk about their masteries, okay? So Apothecary, this guy is a magic affinity support champion. On the A1 here, we've got Scatterbolt. Attacks 3 times at random. Okay, everyone who has been playing Fire Knight or who has played Fire Knight knows how incredible this ability is for Fire Knight, a 3-time hitter. It's going to chip away at that shield very fast. On the A2 here, we've got Soothing Chant, heals a target ally by 35% HP, which can be a critical heal on a 2-turn cooldown from a 3-turn cooldown. This is a massive heal. It's incredible. You can basically do a full heal as long as it's a critical hit. That's why it's important to build them with a 100% crit rate. But a massive, massive heal on the A2 on a 2-turn cooldown, which means you can cycle back around to it a lot faster than most normal heals. On the A3, we've got Boon of Speed, places a 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns and fills their turn meter by 15% on a 3-turn cooldown from a 5-turn cooldown. Very powerful move, very powerful opening move in the arena, but also just a very powerful move in general for a lot of PvE content. Very cool. On the aura, he's got defense in dungeons by 21%. Sorry, I'm stuttering over my words. And then we've got Miracle Heal. 6-star awakened, so he's going to be benefiting from the bonus 7 speed, resist, accuracy, and all of the base stats as well. We've also got a 100% chance to restore destroyed max HP equal to 30% of the heal. Now, that effect isn't by itself very good. I still use him in a couple different areas like Fire Knight and in Curse City as well against Fire Knight, so that destroy max HP is very powerful against Fire Knight specifically, okay? Jumping over to Acolyte of the Slither now. So just a very, very good, solid, very good, rare support kit there, okay? Moving over to Acolyte of the Slither. This guy's a Spirit Affinity support champion out of the new Argonite faction, sorry. On Acolyte's A1, we've got Darklight Spears. Attacks 1 enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 35, books up to 60% chance to decrease the target's turn meter by 5%, unless they're under a decreased speed, in which case each hit has a 60% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10% instead. So, a couple things to mention here. The obvious one is the addition of turn meter manipulation on the A1. That makes this even better for areas like Fire Knight, and any boss, sorry, that can have their turn meter manipulated. However, there's one other thing I want to call out here. One thing that I think makes this even better than Apothecary's. And that's the simple fact that this is a targeted attack, not a random attack. With the introduction of Cursed City into the game, they implemented double bosses. That means that you're not just going up against a boss like the Fire Knight, you're going up against a boss like the Fire Knight and the Griffin, and the Ice Golem, and so on and so forth. So the 3-time random hitter on Apothecary takes a very big hit when you implement a second boss into the game, because you might hit 2 hits against the other boss and only 1 against the Fire Knight. Acolyte of the Slither corrects this by having a targeted 3-time attack on a single target enemy. That means even if you're going up against a double boss, you can target the Fire Knight and you don't lose any value out of this ability, and you're getting the addition of a potential 10% turn meter drop on each hit, potentially 30% turn meter mitigation. Okay, so right off the bat, I think Acolyte of the Slither already has an upgraded, more universal A1 than Apothecary does. We're actually going to skip over to the A3 now. Rite of Flame. This is on a 3-turn cooldown, booked from a 5-turn cooldown. Places a 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns and fills their turn meter by 15%. The exact same copy and pasted ability from Apothecary's A3. So you've got the same ability, just a different name, and the same cooldown. Very cool. On the A2, however, this is where things start to get more different. So on a 3-turn cooldown booked from a 5-turn cooldown, we've got Reduced to Ash. This is an AoE with a 75% chance of placing 15% decreased speed for 2 turns. Also heals all allies by 15% of their max HP. So a couple different things to call out here. The difference here is, instead of a single target heal that can be critical, it's an AoE heal based on 15% of their max HP. It's still a good heal. And it's on a turn longer cooldown. Still a very good heal, but it's different, right? And it's not as potent. It doesn't have the potential to be as potent as Apothecary's heal. But we also have a 75% chance, a reliable chance, to get a 15% decreased speed as well. That means for wave clearing content, you're essentially buying yourself more time to cycle through your abilities before you take any hits from the enemy, which is very, very cool. It's a nice addition to the heal. It's nice to have an addition to the heal. Very, very cool. He's got speed in dungeons by 16%, and I have mine in 1-star survival instinct, so not 6-star awakened, so we're not getting the speed bonus. We are getting the HP bonus, though, 2250 on the HP. We're basically getting a 5% turn meter fill whenever an enemy places, spreads, or transfers a debuff onto this champion. Okay, very cool. Very quickly, I've got both of them in the exact same relic, level 9, 3-star Journal of Necrodos, with the gemstone that increases effects by the turn meter effects on the wearer by 10%. We've got a 21% boost to both heals and turn meter fills placed by the wearer. Okay, so the exact same relic, which is important. I wanted to try to keep this as uniform as possible. Let's go over to the builds real quick, because I do build them a little bit differently. Because Acolyte of the Slither has a debuff in his kit, I actually want to go accuracy and speed on this guy. So I went with 3 pieces of Perception for 15% speed and 120 accuracy, 2 pieces of Feral for 40 accuracy, and another 5 speed, okay? So on the total stats, we've got 46 on the HP, 3842 on the defense, 312 on the speed, and 444 on the accuracy. We want enough accuracy to be able to place those debuffs. Switching over to Apothecary, because he doesn't have any debuffs in his kit, I actually think that you want to go more resist. So survivability and resistance with speed. So for him, I went with Double Righteous for 20% speed and 80 resist, Mercurial for resist, HP, and speed, Feral for a little bit of accuracy, or no, I'm sorry, not accuracy, it's because it gives us triple resistance, sorry, and then Slayer to get 5% crit rate, because we do want 100% crit rate for that heal, okay? So a little bit different, but what we're looking for here is crit rate, speed, survivability, and resistance, okay? So we've got 47.2 on the HP, 27.20 on the defense, 312 on the speed, so the same speed, which is cool, 100 on the crit rate, and 524 on the crit damage. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Dragon Stage 23, and we are going to just generally be testing to see who has more heals, who's dealing more damage, who gets the the run done faster. I apologize, I'm losing my train of thought, and so on and so forth. So we're going to go in, we're going to start with Apothecary, and we're going to do a couple things here. So we're going to go in, and we're going to do with the A3 Boon of Speed, I want to go opener and then don't use, because I want to get back around to it as soon as possible on the second wave. So then we're going to prioritize it on the second wave. We don't want to use it. We don't want to turn it off entirely, because if we go opener, don't use, and he doesn't have it available initially, he just won't use it the entire round. So we're going to use this one as the number one, and then we'll leave it untouched on the third wave. Seducer, we're using everything whenever he has it. Blade Rider, the only thing we're changing is we're going opener, don't use on the A3, and then we're using opener, and then he can use whatever on the second round. Stag Knight, he's going to be our drop defense champion. Same thing, opener, don't use on the drop defense, and then he can use it whenever after that. Grinner, we're leaving him to do whatever he wants, okay? So I'm not going to talk too much during the wave. I just want you guys to take a look to see the heals, the damage, the turn meter manipulation, and how long it takes to get each thing done. Okay, so I will see you guys back here at the end of the fight. Okay, guys, we're coming up on the end of the fight, and there's a couple things I want to call out here. First off, that A2 heal, which is on a 2-turn cooldown, is absolutely massive. Look at that heal he just did right there. 33.5 thousand on that heal. It's a full heal, basically guaranteed, until you start getting into super tanky champions, right? But for a rare damage dealer like Blade Rider, that heal is basically a guaranteed full heal as long as you have a 100% crit rate built on Apothecary. It's absolutely massive. Let's go ahead and go over the numbers here. Sorry. So we get it done in a very good time of 1 minute and 32 seconds. That's pretty fast. He has 630,000 damage on the due to the War Master, and I just realized that I forgot to go over the Masteries. So we'll go over the Masteries after the comparison. I'm very, very sorry about that, guys. We've got 21 on the shield, and then we've got 148.8 thousand on the heals here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up my notes real quick, and because I'm an old man, I apologize, and I'll forget these numbers by the time we get to the other fight. So we got 630,000, 660 on the heals. Or on the damage, sorry. We get 148,000 and 876 on the heals. And then on the time, we did it in a very good 1 minute and 32 seconds. So let's go ahead and edit the team. And we're going to just substitute Acolyte of the Slither in. And we're going to go opener, don't use on the A3. And then we want him to basically prioritize this. I think that's how we had it before. And then after that, he's good to go. We're going to keep everything the same. So guys, let's go ahead. Same thing. Let's just pay attention, see how everything looks. And then when we get back to the end of the, close to the end of the fight, I'll jump back in and I'll go over anything that I've noticed during the fight. Okay. Okay, guys, here we are. We're coming back in, and the fight is over, and we get it done at an even quicker 1 minute and 18 seconds, 79 turns. So faster, by about 14 seconds. Really, really cool. And you can see here, as far as damage goes, Acolyte of the Slither coming in at 493,548. That's actually going to be less damage than the dragon, or I'm sorry, on the dragon. Or I'm sorry, I don't know why I said dragon. It's going to be less damage than Apothecary, okay? He's got 302,655 on the heals, however, which is more than double Apothecary. So he doubled Apothecary's heals, a little less damage. So maybe Apothecary just got a little bit more lucky with the War Master, but less than half of the heals that Acolyte of the Slither had, and we got it done in 14 less seconds. Now, there's one thing I want to call out here real quick. I want to double check it rather, and I'll call it out when I see it, but we're going to run it one more time. I'm going to stay with you guys here, and it happened on the second wave. So I want to see if something happens again that didn't happen the last time. All right, so on wave 2, I want to call that out real quick. When we ran with Apothecary, Blade Rider was actually killed. But in both of these runs, Blade Rider survived the second wave. He didn't need a revive. The reason why I think that is because on top of the increased speed from Acolyte of the Slither, he was also able to place decreased speed on the enemies, which was able to slow them down enough that we were able to cycle through our abilities a little bit faster, and we were able to kill them before Blade Rider got hit too hard and was knocked down. I do want to be fair and give Apothecary one more chance, just so we can say that we gave him both one chance. I want to see if it's the same, or if Apothecary can maybe, or if the run is maybe a little bit different. So we'll go opener, don't use like we normally did. And then the other thing I want to check is to make sure that because of the speed, did Stag Knight have his A2 off of cooldown at the start of the second wave? Because on both of the runs with Acolyte, he had both of them at the start of the second round. So we're going to test that out here. But look at that heal, man. It's such a good heal. Okay, so he does. Now, the important thing here is, are we going to be able to kill them before they come back around and kill our Blade Rider? So that time we actually were able to do it. So it must have been maybe a little bit of a fluke the first time around. So I'm going to let this one play through to see if maybe this one goes a little bit faster now because they didn't need to do that revive. Let's see if Apothecary can redeem himself here. So we're looking to beat 1 minute and 18 seconds. And they're doing pretty good damage, man. They're doing solid damage, so I think it's going to be close. They got 10 seconds. Can Apothecary redeem himself? Look at that heal. 44,000 on Stag Knight. Holy moly. There it is. Oh, 1 second. 1 second. 1 minute and 19 seconds. They were 1 second away from tying, 2 seconds away from beating Acolyte's time. So you can see here, though, less heals than the first time. So faster because we didn't need the revive, but less heals. So overall, I think we just took a little bit less damage, so that's fine. But less damage and less heals. So he did about 200,000 less damage. And on this one, he did about 20,000 less heals than he did on his first run. So very, very cool. It was close on that second one, man. It was close on that second one. But they did have the added benefit that time of Blade Rider not being killed initially. All right, so that's the comparison there. I want to go back in and I want to touch base on the Masteries just real quick. So we can go here and we can go recently used, and let's start with Apothecary. Now, there are just a couple key differences with their Masteries that I think are important to call out. Before we do, I want to note that on both of them, I went down the exact same pathway and picked up War Master. Okay, so War Master is going to give them a little bit of bonus damage against bosses, 4% enemy max HP hit. For Apothecary, what I did here is I went down the support side. I picked up all of the healing buffs, and then I went ahead and I picked up Lasting Gifts for a chance to extend the increased speed. I picked up Lure of Steel. I picked up Spirit Haste to give us some bonus speed when an ally dies, which I think is fine. But the difference is, with Acolyte of the Slither, there's only two big differences here. Instead of picking up Lasting Gifts and Spirit Haste, I instead picked up Sniper, which is going to give us an extra 5% chance, so an 80% chance of placing that decreased speed on the A2. And I picked up Master Hexer for a chance to extend the decreased speed once we've placed it, okay? So those are the only two differences in these masteries. Everything else is the same. Exalted Death, Rapid Response. I believe I put Rapid Response, didn't I? Yep, Rapid Response. We've got all of the healing stuff. It's all the same. So, guys, I think that's going to do it for the comparison part of the video. But what I want to do now is I want to rebuild Acolyte of the Slither in the build that I would typically run him in. So, as far as whether or not Acolyte of the Slither is better than Apothecary, I want to give my final verdict real quick. And the honest answer that I can come across, or that I can think up, is yes. I do think he's better than Apothecary. I think he's better for a couple different reasons. I think he's got a buffed up version on the A1. I think he's, generally speaking, a better healer. I think Apothecary could be a better niche healer. Like if you really need a single target heal, if you really need to focus on one champion to heal more than other champions, I think Apothecary, you can make an argument that he's better. However, just general use heals, I think that A2 ability with the 15% heal and the decreased speed on one ability on a 3-turn cooldown is very powerful for a rare champion. And then obviously their A3 is identical, so we're going to call it a tie there, right? But I think Acolyte of the Slither is overall, I think, is the new and improved Apothecary. I think that obviously I would actually suggest that maybe you build both of them, if not for faction wars, but maybe you could run them in a duo combination where you run them both together and you get tons of turn meter fill, you get decreased speed, and you get tons and tons of heals as well. I think they're both worth building, but I think Acolyte of the Slither comes out on top in this matchup. So guys, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to switch Acolyte of the Slither up. I'm going to put him in the build that I would normally run him in. And then we're just going to go through and we're going to continue testing him in a couple different areas. So just give me 1 minute and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. I went ahead and put Acolyte of the Slither into the build that I would normally run him in. It's a little bit different. I've got him in Relentless, Perception, and Feral. So Relentless gives us an 18% chance to get an extra turn with each consecutive chance, reducing by 45%. Perception for the accuracy and speed, and Feral for the accuracy and speed as well. I think you really want to prioritize survivability, speed, and accuracy on this champion. Those are the three most important ones. If you want damage out of him, I would put him in War Master. I wouldn't build him with 100% crit rate. I would just put him in War Master, which is what I've done. So we've got defense on the gauntlets, HP on the chestplate, speed with speed on the boots. And for the total stats for this one, we've got 59.5 on the HP, 34 on the defense, 281 on the speed, and 338 on the crit damage. So we sacrificed a little bit of speed, a little bit of accuracy because I wanted the Relentless set. So there's really only one more area that I want to test this guy in, and that's Fire Knight. I want to show him off here because I think as far as dungeons go, this is his number one area. He's got turn meter manipulation on the A1, he's got decreased speed, and he has turn meter fill with increased speed on the A3. So we're going to be running him with Allure, who's got even more turn meter drop by 25% on each critical hit on the A1. We've got Stag Knight, who has a big version of decreased speed on the A1, but he also has decreased attack. And I wanted to test the healing of Acolyte of the Slither in comparison to Seal of the Drakes. So Seal of the Drakes has the passive, which is the 10% heal of all allies by their max HP at the start of each turn, with also a increased speed on a random ally for 2 turns. So she can kind of re-up on the increased speeds as well to make sure those don't fall off. So I've also got Sylvain the Paramour here. Sylvain the Paramour, I'm going to be doing a dedicated showcase on this champion soon. One of you guys asked for it, but I thought, why not give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek, because he does have a 3-time hitter on the A1. So a little bit of a sneak peek on Sylvain the Paramour as well. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and start it up. I'll put it on auto, and then I'll let you guys watch. Okay, I'll see you here at the end of the fight. All right, guys, I want to jump in here real quick now that we're at the boss fight, and I want to call out a few things. First off, you kind of just saw the reason why I like him so much in Relentless, because he was able to go from an A3 into an A2, and he was able to turn meter fill and place decrease speed, and he's also able to help us keep the turn meter down on the A1 as well. So this is why I think this is his best area. Basically, once you get the shield down, you don't have to worry about the boss at all. That's it. Boss, the fight's over. The combination of him and Allure is very, very good. You can see here, he gets up a little bit, and then he actually doesn't get another turn because he dies. So let's talk about the stats real quick. So 399 out of Slither for the damage. Didn't really expect him to do a ton of damage, but look at the comparison of the heals with him and Syl the Drake. Syl the Drake's 506,000, a little over 500,000. And Acolyte of the Slither just under 500,000. So very, very strong heals coming out of him, comparable to a legendary champion, a free legendary champion, but a legendary champion nonetheless with a 5-star awakening. So a very, very, very reliable healer, solid turn meter booster. I would say actually probably an S tier turn meter booster, especially for a rare champion. Very good healer, very good turn meter manipulator. He's got a lot in his kit. Guys, let me know what you think. Is Acolyte of the Slither the new Apothecary, the new and improved Apothecary, or would you still go with the original, the old school Apothecary to help carry you through the early, mid, and maybe even into the late game as well? I'm going to go and end the video there. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for dropping by the video. As always, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.